How do you do, Buckaroos? How the heck are you? I am Tom the Beer Whisperer. But you knew that. You're not gonna believe this, man. You're not gonna believe who's joining me at the pub today. It is Travis Kauffman. Uh Travis is leaving. Are
No,
you
no,
finding a
I'm
better
trying.
spot?
Trying to get a better light for you
Get
guys.
better lighting, yeah. Travis, I got Travis Kauffman, the former heavyweight contender. Hey, man, how's it going?
Holding on with both hands.
All right, that's all we can do, man.
That's all we can do.
Oh man, I first saw you. I never met you in person, but I saw you on television. I don't know. I'm guessing about a half dozen years ago for the first
Maybe,
time.
my first television fight. Well, first was my third pro fight on HBO on undercard of Hasim Rockman and James Toney. But is probably then again was in 2008 on Showtime Showbox, and then 2000
Oh yeah, that might
then
have been when I saw
then
you. That's a little further
2009 on
back.
Showbox, and then again 2015 and on. From 2015 on, it was like constantly.
There you go. But you come from a boxing family, right?
I mean, yeah, my father is one of the biggest boxing promoters on the East Coast. Um, I I kind of like followed his dream. It was something, I have brothers. He has three boys, and I was the only one that boxed. I was the only one that actually boxed in the family besides my father. Um, and yeah, so I mean, as far as my dad has a true love for the sport, and that's kind of how I got into it. Not everything, but I get into that later.
So did you fight Golden Gloves as well?
Yeah, well, as an amateur, my record was 52 wins, 12 losses. I was I was number one in the country as an amateur. I was only an amateur for 4 years. Um, there's actually more politics in the amateur boxing than there is in professionals. Uh, it's very crooked. Well, back then it was crooked. I don't know about now. Um, but I was ranked number one in the country. Uh, I won the 2004 POW Nationals. I won the 2003 Pennsylvania Golden Gloves. Went to the Nationals and lost in the semifinals, semifinals against Travis Walker,
Mm-hmm.
who knocked everyone out except me. And I was a 17-year-old kid at the time. No, it was actually 2001. No, 2002 when I went to National Gold. 2002 or 2003. I forget what year it was. I got hit so much I forget the years. Um, so I won the POW Nationals. I won in 2005. I was undefeated internationally in 2005. I won the Jose Chelo Ponte tournament. I won the USA versus Azerbaijan. I beat in 2005. I beat the 2004 silver medalist who was from Azerbaijan. I can't think of his name right now. But I beat him, and I beat it with one hand because I had actually broke my hand about a month before the fight, and everybody was like, "Don't fight." I was like, "I got one hand, I'm good."
Oh
So
man.
I was just tough as nails. When I fought on pay per view against Luis Ortiz, I had one arm because I tore my shoulder 3 weeks before the fight. I tore my labrum, and I got a shot with cortisone, and I fought anyway. Even though my trainer at the time who passed away got arrested so Nazim Richardson, he recommended Travis, don't fight. You could die in the ring. I said, look, I could die with two hands. I need money. So had I maybe not been this tough guy because I looked at it more like a business,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
probably would have made a ton more money and made it to the next level. Because guys now they pick and choose who they want to fight, and not all of them. There's some really good guys out there, but they pick and choose until they get to that level. Because a lot of guys are afraid to lose. I was never afraid to lose. I was just afraid to. The only thing I was ever afraid of was being embarrassed, and that by the grace of God, I don't think that's ever. Well, in 2009, I wouldn't say I got embarrassed when I lost. My first loss was against Tony Grano when I got stopped. But that was my own fault. I didn't eat for the fight. I had abs for the first time in my life, and I don't want to lose the abs. So,
Oh gosh.
and after that loss, I skyrocketed, and Tony Grano just stayed at that level. So,
Yeah.
it's been a blessing.
Yeah, you've been at it. Well, you were at it a long time before you retired not long ago, right?
Yeah, I retired, and my last fight was against Alto Walim, very good
Yeah.
boxer. Wasn't a big puncher, but very, very good boxer. And it was the first. It was actually the first boxing event um, when COVID was going on. So to me, even if I still fought after that, I would never fight again with no audience. It was honestly, it was the weirdest thing in the world. It felt like sparring. I could hear myself breathing, and it got me actually more tired.
Yeah.
When you have fans there, your adrenaline's rushing more, and even though your adrenaline can get you more tired, it also, if you're tired, it pushes you a little more too when you have that adrenaline. And I had zero adrenaline in that fight.
Oh gosh.
And in that fight is when I retired because in the fifth round I tore my rotator cuff and the same shoulder that I tore my labrum in. I said, yeah, I'm done.
Oh man. So I mean, now that you're not fighting, I mean, how does do those injuries heal, or I mean, are you in constant pain all the time?
I mean, for some people they heal. I didn't really take care of myself. But my shoulder, I know I need surgery again. I refuse to get
Yeah.
surgery again. I'll get into some personal stuff. Maybe some guys don't, some guys will. But I'm very open minded. Because it's a part of my life. It's my story. But after the Luis Ortiz fight, when I tore my labrum 3 weeks before that fight, or a month before that fight, whatever it was.
Yeah.
When I tore my labrum, I had to get surgery after the Luis Ortiz fight, and all doctors want to do is give you Percocets. Percocets is literally heroin in a pill. I mean,
Yeah.
that's literally all it is. And I became addicted to it, bad. And doing them all the time. I was able to stop to get ready for the Alto Wallin fight. I stopped, but it wasn't like I stopped there all the time. Like I stopped enough to where I wouldn't get sick because it's like a sickness. I mean, you figure if someone shoots up heroin or sniffs heroin, however they do it, if they do it 3 days in a row, it becomes a physical addiction.
Yeah.
It's not like other drugs out there, weed, cocaine. That's a mental addiction. This was truly a physical addiction. It was like I needed it to function. And getting ready for Alto Wallin, I had 37 fights. My record was 32-4 with one no contest. Out of my 37 professional fights, that is the only fight that I ever took any substance to help get through the training. I needed to take a Percocet to get through sparring or whatever, and I was still taking them. Number one, the main reason was to get through sparring. Number two, because I wanted to feel that high again. And after I retired, it just went downhill because I knew I had nowhere to turn. All I ever did my whole life was box. I never worked a day in my life. I was never quote unquote a normal person. I was very well known in my city, and here I am now after I retired, this normal guy. How do I provide for my kids? I went from making 6 figures a fight to now what do I do? I got very depressed, and the Percocets became an everyday thing. I mean, every day for about a year and a half, and I literally died. I was dead for 4 minutes. They saved my life, and I said I'll never touch them again. I haven't touched them since. So not to get too personal, but that's my story, and I own up to it.
How long have you been clean now?
Off of the Percocets,
Yeah.
So January 8th. So I was clean. So May of 2021, I got clean, went out to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing a documentary. I was clean for 6 months, came home, back to the same environment. And I was going through something with who's now my fiance. Unfortunately, when I was boxing, I had all these women throwing herself at me, and it was hard to say no. I mean, that's one of my biggest addictions is women. And it was even, when I was boxing, everybody was after me. Not that I'm the prettiest guy in the world, but I ain't bad looking. So, I was staying with it because I sold my home. I didn't after I came back from Florida, I didn't want to go back to my home because it was just too many bad memories. All I did in that house, beautiful home, beautiful, beautiful home. All I did in that house was get high. I actually tried committing suicide. In that house. Yeah. By the grace of God, I'm still here. Thank God. But yeah, I didn't want to go back to that house. I went back home for a couple months, and those old thoughts start coming back in. Oh, let's just I look at this table where I would take these pills or where I would hide the pills or whatever, and just all those thoughts came back, and I was like, I gotta sell this house. It was a house I wanted to raise my kids in because it was a huge house, beautiful home, beautiful area, and I said I gotta sell my home. So I put it up for sale, turned everything off, all my electric, all my central air, whatever. I turned everything off, and it was wintertime, and it was freezing. And me and my so I went and stayed with my now fiance. At the time we weren't really together. And I was we were trying to make it work on and off, on and off. I put it through the ringer with my infidelity, and while staying with her, of course, you cheat on somebody so much. It's like this: if you go rob a bank 10 times, you decide to stop robbing a bank. If that bank gets robbed, who are they gonna come to you? So it was like that. I've done a lot of dirt, and by the grace of God, she's still by my side. I love that woman. I just proposed to her Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, got a little emotional. I cried a little bit. But no, it was good.
That's amazing.
She's very deserving of it. And at this time, it was like January 5th, 6th. She ends up kicking me out. She's like, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. And I understood I wasn't going to cry to stay at your house. But I'm like, where do I go? Where do I go? Do I go back to my house and stay asleep? It's freezing. Or I could just sleep in my car where it's warm. And I'm never one to reach out for help ever. I went from having all this money to having no money. And I didn't have money where I could just, let me go stay at a hotel. And I had money for a hotel, but I was like, let me save my money because who knows if I'm ever going to be in a jam. So I'm out in the street. I'm sleeping in my car one night. The mayor of the city, who I'm good friends with, he ends up he seen me one day. He's like, Travis, how you doing? I said, no, just sleeping in my car. It was actually late at night when he seen me. Oh, what are you doing that for? I'll get you a hotel room. Nah, you don't have to do that, Eddie. But long story short, got me a hotel room. The next day, I'm back in my car again, and something that trigger of the warmth. So
Mm-hmm.
to me, it was like I grew up without a mother, so I never felt truly loved. Like my dad is a father. Fathers are the providers; they're not the nurturers. And the feeling that Percocets at the time gave me was love. I mean, as weird as it
Yeah.
sounds, it felt like a warm blanket, like I was just getting a big bear hug. And all I kept thinking about when I was in that vehicle, I need to be warm. I need that big bear hug. I feel alone. No family's checking up on me. All my friends that I supposedly had when I was boxing, nobody's checking on me. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go buy Percocets. So I bought 3 of them. Never did them that day. I was like, yeah, I can't do this. Woke up the next morning. I seen them and I was like, let me do one. So I took one and I'm driving and I don't remember nothing. So I found out afterwards they found me at a gas station parked, and the manager of the gas station is who truly saved my life. She seen me parked, turning blue, tried to open the door. My door was locked, but she went around to the other side and my window was down. Got the cops came. They got me out the car. I woke up in the ambulance. Like, what's going on? And the ambulance said you were dead for 4 minutes.
Oh
And
my lord.
all I kept thinking was my kids. Like, why am I doing this? Like, I've been clean and nothing's worth this.
Yeah.
And I made a promise. I still have personal demons that I deal with, but I made a promise that I'll never ever ever take a Percocet again because and the reason why I died was fentanyl pressed Percocets. And I knew that. I'll be honest, I knew they were fentanyl pressed Percocets. Because I'd done them in the past and I didn't die. So I was like, I could do it again. I ain't gonna die. And I died, and all I kept saying is like, me dying is never worth the pain my kids are going to go through. Any pain I feel, whether it's because I deal with depression, I'm depressed since I was 10 years old. I deal with suicidal thoughts, and any pain that I feel would never be worth. It would never be worth it for me to end my life to end because I chose to just feel some comfort, and then the pain my kids would have to deal with for the rest of their lives because dad's decision. And I'm a firm believer. The first time you use is a choice. Absolutely. When people say, addiction it's not an addiction. It's not a mental disease. I used to think that too. It truly is. Like truly, like you feel that comfort that for me, like I said, I remember my uncle who's dead now, God rest his soul. He started shooting up heroin at 50 years old, and he's been an addict his whole life. Smoking crack, cocaine, whatever he did. And I just remember him when he was just shooting. Uncle Rick, why are you shooting up heroin? He's like, I don't know. He's like, the love I feel from this is a love I love this more than I ever loved my wife. And he wasn't married at the
Oh
time,
gosh.
but
Wow.
and I was like, wow. So all I kept thinking about, like when I started getting high all the time, was wow, I feel that love, like a love that I've never felt. I didn't have a mom. My dad was a dad. He's a provider and a disciplinary. And I know my dad loves me. I know my dad loves me to death. He raised me by himself, and so I know he loves me because I raised my kids by myself for years. Now their mom's involved. She helps, thank God, and she's been helping now. She's been a big part of the kids' lives for the last 3-4 years. Thank
Good.
God.
Good.
But I know how hard it is, and I wouldn't have done it if I didn't love my kids. So I know my dad loves me, not loved because he's still here. Thank God. Um,
Good. Yeah.
thank God. But I like I was saying about it being it's truly a disease, and it's still. I think I don't follow the addiction stuff too much, like, but I'm sure they're still doing studies on why people choose to get high. And I think the biggest part is because so it wasn't my when I started doing the Percocets, it wasn't I want to be an addict. I want to be no. It was a fit. doctors gave me the drug. They gave me the drug.
Yeah.
And when I tried to stop taking it, I'm shaking. Now, thank God I never went to heroin because everybody I know that doctors gave the Percocet to, they went to heroin and they died.
Yeah.
I was afraid to go to heroin. Like I went through many withdrawals at home by myself, shaking for 5 days, can't sleep for 4 or 5 days. But I would just stop. I'll stop for a couple months and then something trigger me, whether it be depression, it be a fight, or it be I just don't feel right. I just want to feel something. And they say a lot of people use drugs to feel something. I mean, to block something. To me, I use drugs to feel something. I want to feel like I never felt. I want to feel love or whatever it was,
Mhm.
and I never dealt with addictions my whole life until the Percocet thing. And like I said, I brought that up because I'm supposed to have shoulder surgery and I just refused to. Now you don't have to take pain meds. You can deny the narcotics, but for
Yeah.
me, that pain was so crucial in my shoulder when I had the first surgery. I know I'm gonna need a pain pill. Like I do, it hurts now, but it's more. It hurts a lot more after surgery. So I just like you know what, I deal with this because I refuse to ever go back down that route again.
Yeah. But you see that with a lot of athletes, right? I mean, not just athletes, but you do see with a lot of athletes where they're prescribed these drugs, and then you're I don't know if you're forced to take them, or but it's encouraged because you have to, like you said, you have to make a living still, right?
Yeah, yeah, and when I started, like I said, after the Ortiz fight, I knew I was going to fight again. I still felt good. I looked good in the Ortiz fight. I lost the fight, but I looked good. He was the boogeyman. Everybody was afraid of him. Not Travis Kauffman. I told. I don't know if you remember that fight. If you watched the fight,
I
but
did, yeah.
did you watch
I
the press?
remember the press conference before that, yeah.
Yeah. So in the press conference, I said, Boogeyman don't scare because that's what they called him, the Boogeyman, because everybody was afraid to fight him except Deontay Wilder. And I said, Boogeyman don't scare me. The Boogeyman looks under his bed for me at night. So, I'm very confident, always been confident. And so I knew I had to take these pills to get back into the ring again. But I never knew these pills were going to make me addicted to them. And yeah, it just, everything spiraled downhill after that. And like I said, by the grace of God, I'm still here, man. I'm still here. My kids still got me. I'm still taking care of my kids. They still live with me. So I almost lost that relationship with my oldest son, who's 16. He's upstairs now, laying down like a lazy bum. But I almost lost a relationship with them, and I said, my relationship with my kids is so much more important than any feeling I need. Any feeling I crave. So today I still crave that love in a sense, but I know my kids love me. You know what I'm saying? I know my girlfriend loves me. I know that, but it's weird. Like we don't understand. I've always tried to understand why am I depressed. I've been depressed since I was 10 years old. I never understood it, and still trying to understand it. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, when I went through that whole addiction thing and I died, I was dead. Thank God I'm still here. Um, I knew it was time to change something, and I just vowed to never touch them again. And I still, like I said, I still have issues. I still deal with my depression. I still have thoughts of suicide once in a while. Thank God I'm not doing anything because that might have triggered it to want to commit suicide. Um, you know, I do drink, but drink has never been a problem to me. I've never been a big drinker. Like I go out, I have 2, 3 beers, maybe a shot or two, and I'm done. I don't want no more. They tell most addicts, because I will consider myself an addict till the day I die. But they tell
Yeah.
most addicts that, if you're addicted to cocaine or crack or heroin or whatever, you shouldn't do nothing else. And for some people, that's very, very true, very true. Um, but I enjoy a good time. I enjoy having a drink or two. I love the taste of beer or even some whiskey. I've never like last time I drank was probably like 3 weeks ago. Before that was probably like a month before that. So I've never been a big drinker, um, but I do enjoy a glass of wine or whatever once in a while. So
Yeah.
that's my story.
So do you find there's not, having said that, do you find there's not this one size fits all method to recovery?
No, I think no, I don't believe that. Like I believe,
Yeah.
I mean, I believe what you just there's no, one size doesn't fit all. I believe everybody's different. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
some people use faith. I mean, I believe you no matter what. You don't have to believe in God per se, but you have to have faith. And if it isn't faith in God, as if it isn't faith in a cup of coffee, it has to be faith in yourself. You have to have some type of faith,
Yeah.
and all faith is belief. Uh, uh, I personally believe in God, but I don't give a fuck. Excuse my language. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on the show. I
No,
don't give.
you're good.
Oh, okay, good. I have a potty mouth. But I personally, I don't give a fuck what you believe. You believe in a cup of coffee. If that cup of coffee made you a better person, who the hell am I to say you don't believe in that?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who are Christians. I consider myself a Christian. I consider myself spiritual. Put it that way. Um, but I know a lot of people who judge people because they don't believe their way or whatever. No, believe what you want. As long as you're a good person, to me, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I know my wife and I, we kind of, when we lost our son, we almost had like a crisis of faith. When we lost our son to cancer back in 2013, it was a tough road back.
Oh
And
wow,
there was that time where I didn't have a issue with pills per se, but it was that moment where I felt myself getting dark, right, where nothing was making me happy. I saw myself becoming that old man that just sits out in his front yard and yells at everybody. I saw myself becoming that guy, and then it was almost like a wake up call. And is this the legacy you want to leave? Is this you're gonna this disappointing Seamus? Is this how you're gonna be? It's like this voice in my head telling myself you can't be this guy.
yeah, that's awesome, man. Unfortunately, everybody says, "Well, Trav, you dealt with the same thing your brother dealt with. You had the same mom and dad. His mom wasn't there. Why did you deal with depression? He didn't. I don't know. I can't answer that. There's people. It's like this. If me and my brother had both parents together, they're both pastor and priest. Doesn't mean one of us are going to be a pastor and priest. One of us might be a pastor, and the other one might be a crackhead. You never know. It's just.
Yeah, yeah, you
I mean,
know.
that's the truth because everybody handles things differently.
Yeah.
My dad don't understand it. And what's crazy, my dad's father. So depression kind of runs in our family. I never met my dad's father. He killed himself before I was born.
Oh
Um,
gosh.
so my dad, I remember being a young kid, telling my dad about depression, and he just wasn't the type of guy to understand it. He said that's weak. That's just being weak mind. He has the old school mentality, and till today, I believe now he's 60 years old. Now I think he tries to understand it a little bit. Um, but and same thing with addictions. Like when I dealt with addictions, um, his mindset. He's that old school man. I'm just glad I was never as weak as you because my dad partied. He did his thing, but he was able to. I'm done. You know,
Yeah.
Dad. I would tell my dad, Dad, I love you, but I'm glad you were strong enough to leave that go. Unfortunately, I wasn't. Doesn't mean it's weak. It just means some chemical imbalance in my brain is saying this is what is going to make me feel better. Um, and that's for a lot of people. Like I've always been one way before my addictions. I've always been one to interact with people
Yeah.
who either were depressed, sad, down, because I always felt like it's my job to try picking them up.
Yeah.
Because I understand, like even though I wasn't an addict, I understood in the sense of that you're dealing with some type of hurt. Because I've dealt with hurt my whole life, and like I said, there's people who grow up don't have mom or dad, and they come out perfectly fine. Then there's some people who have mom and dad and are still depressed for whatever reason. And that's why I believe it's really some chemical imbalance. It is what it is, and I accept it. I'm working on getting better. As far as my depression, I mean, I have moments. Like 2 weeks ago, I had a moment. I was breaking down. I'm home alone, crying, and I'm a man. I've never been scared of nobody. Obviously,
Yeah.
I fought for a living. But breaking down, getting emotional, I'm like, why? Like why? And I couldn't pinpoint it. And you know, I'm here. I thank God I'm not in that where I was 2, 3 years
Yeah.
ago after I retired, because when I retired, I just felt like I have no purpose in life no more. So
But that's why a lot of I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, that's why a lot of, well, all people, but men particularly, don't ask for help because it's they feel it's perceived as being weak, because that's the that's what's put on us all. No, you can't do that. You can't show that.
oh yeah, I tell my kids I have all boys. Thank
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Thank God. Because if I would have had a girl and she would have turned out like me, I probably would have had to kill some little boy. Oh God. But I have all boys. From biologically from 16 at 16, 14, 10, and 3. Yeah, 3.
Oh,
Now
good Lord.
I also have a 23 and 22-year-old that I raised since they were 4 and 5. I'm not with their mom no more. That's my first 3 kids' mom. I'm not with their mom no more, but I'm still dad. I'll be dad to the day I die. Um, but I tell them all the time, it's okay to cry. I mean, it's okay to hurt. It's okay because don't feel like less of a man. Now they don't cry. they're afraid to show their emotions at times. But I tell them, don't let it out. I've always been one to be emotional. I cry. I mean, there's times I think I'm trying to think what fight it was. Oh, Chris Ariola when I got robbed. I got robbed and I beat the shit out of Chris Ariola. They gave him a fight, and now I wasn't emotional like crying. Like it was like I start choking up on my words because I start talking about my kids back home. I was like, yeah, I did it for my kids and Nazim, who was my journey guy. Toughen up, soldier. You got this. And I that back to reality because there's millions of people watching. But I've never been afraid to show my emotions, but I've always been afraid to ask for help.
Yeah,
Always.
yeah. I got a little story about that fight. I was watching that fight, and my wife was in the bedroom, and they came down with that decision, and I yelled, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And my wife comes in, "What's the problem? He just got robbed," and I didn't even know you at that time. I didn't have, I
Yeah.
was just watching the random fight. It was holy crap, he just got robbed, man.
Yeah, Chris is a personal friend of mine. I actually just talked to Henry Ramirez, who was his trainer. He started training with Joe Goosen, but I just talked to Henry Ramirez the other day, and then last time I talked to Chris was probably like 3 months ago. But we've always been friends, and but when you look at us fight, you're like these guys want to kill each other because I truly, I mean, when I fight somebody, like my kids ask me, so, I don't know if it's my kids or my fiance, I forget who asked me, but they're like, how can you adjust like that? And how can you adjust from shaking someone's hand, loving them, hey, how you doing, to trying to kill them? And I said, I don't know. Like when I'm in that ring, who's ever's in that ring, they're trying to take something from me that I need, and that's money to provide for my kids. And if I go out there and lose, then the money's gonna be a lot less.
So I
That's
segueing into boxing now. So growing up, I mean, what fighters did you admire, want to emulate?
so not as far as emulate. So emulate the fighter I admired the most. It was a guy from my hometown. He was a world champion. He beat Michael Nunn for the world title. Steve Little. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Steve Lightning Little. He ended up dying when he was 34 of colon cancer. Sad
Oh, good
story.
lord.
Probably one of the greatest men I've ever met in my life. I remember he was going through chemotherapy. He always down. He'd hop in the ring and spar and be alive. After the ring, he's down again. Like, how do you do that? Because his love for the sport. Like, I tell people, I'm very honest. I truly never loved boxing. Like, I love to fight, but boxing itself, all the things that go with it, I never loved it. Like having to get up and work out, I did it because I knew if I didn't do it, I'm gonna get embarrassed. You know, um, that's my big head. uh, so I knew that. What are you doing, Trav? It's cold. Hey, you guys had it down to 50. Sorry about that. So, um, I knew that I had to, train. I think there's a cool about Muhammad Ali. I hated every minute I had to get up and run and do it, but I knew I had to do it, or I forget something like that. But so Steve Little was somebody I looked up to because he was truly like an uncle to me, and he didn't have money. Like he fought Michael Number, still didn't have no money, and but whatever money he made, he helped kids out, do this. So I admired him. Like, man, this guy's like a god to me. Um, and then always wanting to emulate was more like a Ali. 'Cause I loved Ali. Ali's one of my favorite fighters. Not even skill wise, because I think he made a lot of mistakes. Never threw a
Yeah.
body shot, or kept his hands down. But he had great reflexes. But Ali and also James Toney, I loved James Toney. Um, so those two guys I try to emulate a little bit. Now later on in my career, in my younger career, I used to be on my toes a lot. They used to actually call me Wally, the White Ali. uh, but I used to be on my toes, bounce around a lot. In my pro debut, I was bouncing around and got hit with a shot, boom, and dropped. I said, "Yeah, no more bouncing. The bouncing days are over." Um, but and then once I had knee surgery like a year before I fought Chris Ariola,
Mm-hmm.
and I bounced up into that point a little bit. I had a little showboating, bounce around, and be real pretty. Uh, But once I had knee surgery, that bouncing stopped because I couldn't do it no more. Except what's crazy is that when I fought Luis Ortiz, I used my legs so well. I have no clue how, and I only trained 6 weeks for the fight, but I was in tremendous shape for that fight. I just only had one arm. Um, so yeah, I would say Ali and James Toney were guys I truly wanted to be like, because they were very slick, they were charismatic, they
Mhm.
had a lot of. Were you going back to bed? What are you doing? Watching TV? All right, kid. Um, they had a lot of charisma. You know, they were shit talkers. I'm a shit talker. Now I don't talk shit per se. Like I'm very confident in myself. I wouldn't never sit there and say. I remember, I wasn't a shit talker like Mike Tyson. Oh, I'm gonna eat your children, nothing like that. Um, but like for instance, when I fought Louis King Kong, saying, the boogeyman, they call you the boogeyman, stuff like that. Like, boogeyman lives under his bed for me at night, stuff. But I would never talk bad about somebody or I would never say, oh, I'm gonna F you up, this and this and that. And then I go out there. Why do that? Because then I might go out there and get embarrassed. I know how boxing is. It can happen at any moment. You can go out there and get clipped and it's all over. So I've always respected my opponent. I didn't care if I was fighting a guy 30-0 or a guy 0-30. I respected him. I was never one to talk junk. Like James Tony was probably one of the best talk junk shit talkers. Unfortunately, I guess he talked so much shit he can barely talk now. It's sad. He took some beatings in his life. We had a
Yeah.
great. Um, so yeah, I mean, I loved watching those guys. So I try to emulate my style, like I said, off of Ali and James Tony.
So, what are your thoughts on the heavyweight division today?
Hmm.
And I'll be real honest with you. I don't follow it. I used to follow it real close, back in the 70s and 80s. It was probably the only thing my dad and I had in common for a long time was boxing. So that was the one we could watch boxing and not fight about something. So,
Yeah, boxing was awesome back in the day. They had, it was on CBS, it was on ABC, it was on
uh,
with world championship fights on those channels.
yeah,
Um, now I got this for years. Excuse my hiccups. For the last couple of years, they have pay per view and this and that, and um, I since I retired, I haven't watched much boxing.
yeah,
I just because a part of me, I tend to miss it, and I know I can't do it no more. Like I know
yeah, yeah,
I've gotten on for $300,000 to fight again. I turned it down. Everybody's like, "Trav, take that money." I got too much pride. Like I need the money. I don't have nowhere near what I had when I was fighting. Nothing. I don't have the big house I once had. I don't, and not that I didn't. I owned my house outright. I didn't have no mortgage or nothing. But like I explained earlier, why I had to sell it. But I don't have the money I had. I would love 300,000 right now, even though I only come home with like 180 or whatever. I would love that right now because that makes things so much better. But I have too much pride to go out there and get embarrassed. Knowing I don't have a
yeah,
desire to train. I can't get up. I'm like 290 pounds right now. I can't get up and go for a run. I can't. I don't have that motive. Even for my last fight, Alto Wallin, I already knew in my head I'm done. Which is why I don't know if you watched that fight, my last fight. Um, I already started talking about if I lose this fight, I'm retiring. I already knew in my head I'm probably not gonna win because I knew I wasn't giving it
yeah,
my all. I already knew I'm messing up by taking Percocets, getting ready for the fight. Like that's something I would never do. Now I'm 420 friendly. Um, I'm a firm believer. I think instead of doctors giving people freaking Percocets, which is heroin in a pill, they need to prescribe people medical marijuana. Um, I'm a firm believer in that. Now, of course, as long as you don't overindulge, but I would never, ever smoke for a fight. Never, never. Once in a while, like I'll take a couple of tokes after a fight, but then that's it. I'm done.
yeah,
Because to me, it's like it was like worshiping two gods. You can't do it. Um, so that fight, I already knew like this is it. Like I'm not the Travis I once was. Like very dedicated, wanting this. Like I wanted to win because I knew bigger money, but I didn't want to win. Like I didn't care. Like whatever. Like I just don't want to get embarrassed. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I was always tough as nails, so I knew I had to be in some type of shape not to get embarrassed. Because if I was in no shape at all after a round and a half, maybe after like 30 seconds, like now if I try to fight like 45 seconds in, I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. So yeah, I mean, as far as boxing goes today, though, I mean, there's good fighters out there. I enjoy watching Gervonta. I'm looking forward to Gervonta and
hmm,
Ryan Garcia fighting if it ever happens. It's supposed to happen in April. I don't know. Like I said, I go to my dad's shows. My dad's, like I said, one of the biggest promoters. He just did a show on Showbox about 2-3 weeks ago, and I was up there at the fight. Um, there's not like as far as the TV, I don't follow it no more. Like I just and like I said, and I explained why because that itch starts to come back, and I know I can't do it. I don't want anything that's going to trigger my depression.
Yeah, yeah. So now that you've kind of got that stuff out, you find it easier now to ask for help for the depression?
No,
No. Right.
I talk about
So,
depression.
so at least you know that about yourself, right?
I have too much pride. Um, I and pride is one of the worst things in the world to have. I I'm very open about my depression. I tell anybody I deal with depression, but yet I'm afraid to go. Not afraid. I don't make the initiative to go talk to a
Yeah.
counselor to vent. I don't make the initiative to go and ask for pills to help me. You know, as a kid, they tried to diagnose me with pills, and my dad, old school mentality, no, don't take that. That's going to help one thing but hurt another, which in a sense might be true. Or he'll say, oh, you're going to be dependent on that. What happens when you stop taking it? You ain't going to be happy no more, which is probably true. And a part of me now thinks, actually, I lie. I have asked for help. Let me rephrase that. I reached out to my family doctor and I told her, I said, look, I would like to try to get on some depression meds to try it. So she gave me Wellbutrin. And when I was a kid, I took Wellbutrin. I used to smoke cigarettes. And Wellbutrin helps you quit smoking cigarettes and also helps with depression. At that time, it didn't help me with quitting smoking cigarettes. So I was like, all right, whatever. You know, I'll take these Wellbutrin. So I took them and nothing. So she recommended, she was like, hey, look, go see a what is it, psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever one is allowed to prescribe pills. Go sit down, talk to them, let them know your situations, and they'll prescribe you something. So I am very open to it. I just never make the initiative. I still haven't booked an appointment with the psychiatrist. And when I talked to my doctor about that, was about 3 months ago. And about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I think I told you, I broke down. Just never had no, I didn't have no thoughts about suicide or nothing, but I just broke down. And you know, I don't know why, but I know why because I'm not taking the damn meds to get better.
Well, you said something earlier I thought was interesting. You know, you're talking about when you were boxing, when you were making a lot of money, you had a lot of friends, and then when that dried up, the friends dried up.
The friend, woman, everything dried up. I've been retired now. August 20th to be 3 years. August 15th to be 3 years. And I kid you not, in 3 years, besides family, besides family, none of the zero people from my so-called friends hit me up. The ones I used to hang out with all the time, the ones I used to take to fights. Yo, come to these fights with me. Let's go watch. Let's go watch Earl Spence versus Sean Porter, or whatever. Like, I'd fly people out of to different states. Like, let's go, and they would flock around me, and it felt good because you have people around you. And I think I did that more so for my depression because when I was around people, I felt happy. I felt good. Like I also do like my depression is because of abandonment issues. I told you my mom was never around, and my dad, even though he's a phenomenal provider, he wasn't really around either because he worked all the time. He's a workaholic, so I was alone. So I hate being alone. Like this is probably the long since I retired. This is probably the longest time I've been alone by myself. Like no friends, no nothing. But since I retired 3 years ago, my phone from the so-called friends, maybe one time in 3 years. And I have friends that love me, that truly love me. But to me, it's like we're just different people. Like they're different age groups. So it's not like or they live in different. So for instance, Henry Ramirez, Chris Ariola's trainer. I love that guy. I love Chris Ariola, but and I consider them friends. But I mean, like as far as hanging out, you know, hey, like guys, let's come over, let's play some cards, let's watch some football or something like that. Nothing. So, and that's something I tell my kids all the time. Try to get a good group of friends and stick to them forever, because friends are hard to come by.
Yeah,
Friends,
yeah.
I can probably count on a half a hand how many friends that not let me rephrase that. I have people that love me. I have friends that love me. They consider me their friend, family, whatever they want to consider me. Um, but when I think of friends, I think of people around my age group. So I'm 37. God, oh God, slow down. Um, so I'm 37, and anywhere from like let's say 35 to 45. I don't have any really close friends like that. I don't have close friends like yo, let's book a vacation to go here and there. I don't have that. When I was boxing, I had a million of them. So it's kind of weird, and sorry, I tend to ramble on a lot.
No, that's good, man.
That's why people used to love doing interviews with me because I talk a lot.
Hey, that's all right. Hey, this is an interview. It's a conversation.
Well, yeah, conversation, whatever, same thing. That's
If we
how
were
I look.
actually in a pub
That's
together, I'd just be knocking the beer back while you were talking.
there you go. That's how I used to look at interviews too. It's just a conversation. I'm just talking. I vent, like
Yeah, yeah.
whatever. So what was I saying? Oh no, what was I saying? For brain fart. The interview. Oh shit, brain fart. It don't matter. It wasn't that important.
No, you're. That's funny. Yeah, I do that all the time too. But I'm a lot older than you. I'll be 58 in May.
Congratulations.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
That's a
kind of
blessing.
amazed to have gotten this far, to be honest with you. But here I
Not
am.
not many people get to live that age.
My wife and I. It would be 29 years this year we've been married.
Go ahead. See, I congratulate that. I've never been strong enough to be in a relationship longer. Well, my first kid's mom 9 years, but I was a knucklehead. And then my second kid's mom, on and off, said now we're engaged because I made the commitment to myself. This is who I need to be with. But now I'm 37 years old. I finally decided now it's time to settle down. But it's never too late. But I was just an animal. I felt like I was the king of the world at one point. Like women flocked to me. Yeah, am I that good looking? But it's a whole bunch of fakeness, and it makes you. Oh, I remember what I was saying before the thing. I remember when I was boxing, I used to ask God, like, God, I just want to be normal because I hated the fame. Like, it's not I wasn't famous like a Mike Tyson. I wasn't famous like a Floyd Mayweather, nothing like that. Where paparazzi's following me. No, that's never happened, paparazzi. But in my hometown, I was the biggest name at one point.
Yeah.
The biggest. All these kids in my yo. I think these kids are in my room, sorry.
That's all right.
Trav! What are you doing? Oh. I hate them going in my room. Anyways, I remember when I was boxing, like, I was very well known and in my city. I remember being out one of my friends who's dead now, got arrested. So she takes me out for Father's Day one time at Texas Roadhouse. And this guy who now is actually is an older guy who I consider they love me. I consider them friends, but like I said, not in that category of friends I can hang out with. They I met him this day. I'm at Texas Roadhouse. He comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, you're Travis Kauffman, right?" I was like, "Yeah, how you doing?" I'm very social with people. I love to socialize because it helps get my mind out of my head. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to. How you doing?" Shook his hand. Oh, cool. Went backside down. Same time my friend Neil comes up. Tap one. That's the same guy. Hey, you mind if I take a picture with you? Yeah, no problem. Now when he takes a picture of me, everybody in the restaurant starting to notice me. I'm like, oh god. So I remember asking God, let me please be normal. I just want to be normal. I'm tired of this. And this is early in my career. This is honestly way before the Areola fight. After the Areola fight, it got worse. Because Areola was a big name, and
Yeah.
that's my biggest payday at that time. Going from making $10,000. My biggest payday before that was like $5,000-$10,000 and making six figures. Whoa. And of course people knew about it because it's public records, but they don't show. Thank God for Al Heyman. A lot of people hate him, but thank God for him because they don't show everything public records. So on the public record, it's like when I fought Luis Ortiz, said I only got 100,000. Yeah, right. I wish that. Not that I wish. If I would have got 100,000, I never would step foot in the ring with him. But on public, when you look up public records on how much they got paid, like, so if you look up me and Luis Ortiz, you might say 100, 150 or whatever. I got a lot more than that. So Al Heyman won't put everything on there. So at this time, let's go back, rewind again. Sorry. People coming up, pictures. I used to pray to God, let me please be normal. I'm tired of this. Like, I want to be able to go home, drink a 6-pack of beer, and not have to worry about getting up and going for a run. But now that I'm normal, God, let me go back to being famous.
now you go home and drink a 6-pack of beer. You got to worry about getting up in the morning for work, right?
Yeah, man. I'm 30. I'm 37 years old. I have a great job, thank God, because I know the mayor. But this is the first job, like actual job. Besides boxing's a real job, but it's not. I can't use it as experience on paper.
Yeah.
I can't go work in the office because I'm a boxer. No, I don't work that way.
Qualifies you to
So
be a bouncer, right?
yeah, right, and it's cash flow, but I don't want to be in that lifestyle because
Yeah.
I'm trying to settle down. And if I'm in that lifestyle, I see girls and it's like, oh god, babe, I'll be home tomorrow. I got work late. So I know my weaknesses and I'm okay with it. She knows my weaknesses and she's not okay with it, but she knows that I'm open about it, and I've been very good, thank God. Um, but yeah, so I don't want to be a bouncer. I had an opportunity to be a bouncer. And if I would have invested my money, and if there's any kids watching, which I don't know because there's a bear channel, but if there's any kids watching, if you make money, invest that. Invest your money. Um, I would never have to work if I invested my money. But now this is my first job. I have a great job. I have a union job, and I'm 37, so now I'm working. I don't mind. I don't mind. Honestly, I don't mind working. I actually enjoy it because it keeps me busy. Because when I was boxing, in between fights, sit at home all day, watch TV. Or if I'm not in the gym, I'm at home, doing nothing. Or I'm out at the bar hanging out with friends. Um, which is good to have that freedom, have all the money in the world you want, which I wanted a lot more, but thank God I didn't. Because I wouldn't be here today. I promise that. Um, but I enjoy the normal life, but it's still hard to get used to. I've only been working now. March 8th will be 1 year that I've been working. And
Yeah.
I like it. I like working. I like having to get up. I just don't like having to answer to anybody.
Yeah.
Because being a boxer, you're your own boss. The only person I
Yeah.
have to answer to is mine. I try, hey, go hit the bag. And if I wanted to, I could say, you're fired. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that now. So this normal life, you gotta be careful what you ask for. Now I got it and I accept it and I love it. I love the normal life, but I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I miss the fame. I miss the money. I miss the as sad as it sounds. I miss the fake people. Like I miss
Yeah.
having people around me. Not that I miss the fakeness. I don't miss the snakes. I don't miss the people that use me for money. I mean, I have a huge heart. Like there's probably hundreds of thousands of dollars that I lended out to people. Here you go. Pay me back when you can. It never happened. Um, so yeah, I mean, it
Well, now
feels
that you're
good.
that regular guy per se, I mean, and have the job. Are you finding? I mean, are you making friends that way? That people that don't know you don't know who you are. Or,
No, I think I wouldn't say friends. I mean, I talk to people at work, but I didn't go to work to make friends. I would love to still one day have a close friend, or maybe a best friend in a sense. But I've never had a best. I did have a best friend at one time, and he used to box too, but he kind of did some dirty stuff to me over money. Um, but I talk to people at work, and I think a part of me still scared. Not scared. 'Cause I'm very open. Obviously, I open up about everything. So not everything, but I'm very open. Um, but I don't want to let people in, and even though I don't have nowhere near the money I had, I can't get used in that aspect. But I'm afraid to let people in and get super close and be like, "Hey, Trav, can I borrow some money?" No, like I I I don't mind telling people no, but when I had money, I would never tell nobody no. I got it. If I got it, you got it. If I look
yeah,
at you as a friend, I look at you as I love you. I don't care what you need. If I have it, you got it. And now it's like I don't have nowhere near that. Like I go to work every day and I buy people lunch. I ain't got the what the fuck am I doing? Why am I doing that? I still got to buy my kids lunch. I'm begging the government to give me food stamps because I ain't got no goddamn money no more. But but no, I just you know I don't I haven't I'm still working on trusting.
yeah, yeah,
It's a long process because I did this boxing thing. So I was 14 when I started amateur. I was 20 when I turned pro. So 20 to 35, so 15 years as a professional. When I turned pro, I was famous in my city because I was ranked number one in the country as an amateur. So I've been so used to this, not luxury life, because I didn't have luxury life until after I fought Chris Ariola. Um, but I've always lived like I'm a somebody, always. So now trying to live like I'm normal, it's hard, and I'm just afraid of letting people in. I mean, I
yeah.
wouldn't say afraid isn't the word, but skeptical. There, that's better.
Skeptical, yeah,
I'm skeptical on letting people in because it's crazy. Because people, I go to work, people still call, "Hey, champ," which is awesome. I guess that's a sign of respect. But at the same time, I sit there and think like, I'm just a boxer. I'm just a normal guy, bro. I used to box. Some days are go over, but I'm afraid to like sit there and I'll say thank you or whatever, but I don't initiate a conversation because I'm afraid they're gonna try getting close and think I still have the money I have. Like I hear people at work say, "Oh, champ, you got money. Don't worry about it." I just yeah, if you think so, I don't get into it or nothing. But because these people still think I'm Travis Kauffman for 3, 4, 5 years ago. I'm not. That money is gone. You probably have more money in your bank than me. That's what I tell them. You probably have more money in your bank than me. The only difference is I own my home, no mortgage. I never wanted to owe anybody except Uncle Sam, and I owe his ass too right now. Oh God.
So, I mean, if any of your kids have any interest in boxing, or did you kind of discourage that?
No, I didn't discourage it. I think my lifestyle is what discouraged it. The fact that I'm a single father.
Mm,
Um, I started traveling a lot in 2015 after the Chris Ariola fight. Before that,
yeah,
I would train local. I mean, I would still go to like Jersey and stuff, but not for a long time. After that, getting ready for the Ariola, no, not after that. Before the Ariola fight is when I really started traveling because I had to go away to camp for Ariola for like 2 months, and that's when the actual long camps actually started. And 2007, 8, that's almost 8. I fought in December, so let's say 7.5 years ago. My oldest is 16. At the time, it was 9. Like, how you go from having your dad all the time to not having him for 2 months? That's hard for a kid.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think the fact that boxing, same thing with me. Look, growing up, I hated boxing. I did it because I wanted a relationship with my dad. I hated boxing. I didn't start loving boxing until I made 6 figures. Like, and I still hated it. Like, even before I fought, I just knew I had skill. I had the most skill. I had so much skill, just zero discipline. Um, the discipline I did have was being able to train, but I didn't have discipline on in between fights. I didn't go out drink this woman, that woman, this woman, that woman. Uh, but getting ready for a fight, I always had discipline. I would never party, never nothing. But I've always said that someone who makes a true champion is someone who lives it, not just when it's time to fight, 365 days a year. And that's one thing I always respected about Nazim Richardson, who was my trainer. He was a Muslim. And he said, Travis, you're a boxer. He was like, when I'm a Muslim 365 days a year. If you're a boxer, you gotta be a boxer 365 days of the year. And it's true. And I'm a firm believer, like anything you do in life, if you truly want it, you gotta live it. You gotta live it. And for that, I lived it for a short period of time until I stopped loving it. And then I just
Yeah.
getting ready for fights. Like, all right, I don't want to sit there and say stop loving it because I'm contradicting myself. I truly never loved it. I enjoy fighting. I loved what I did love was the attention I got from it. There you go. That's better. The attention I got from it being a fact that a guy that deals with
Yeah.
abandonment issues. I love the attention. Not only that, I'm a Leo. Go figure. I love Leos love attention, and my abandonment issues help me love even more attention. So that I loved. And I loved being in shape because not only am I in shape, but now I'm getting more attention from these women or that or whatever. So, um, I forgot where we're going with this. Well, what was the question again? Sorry, brain fart.
I don't remember now.
And I promise I did not smoke no weed today.
Oh, I was asking about your kids that had any interest, and you kind of went
Oh,
around
that's right.
that, but yeah,
So
in
my
boxing, yeah,
my 16-year-old hates boxing with a passion,
yeah,
and I get it. I get it because I hated boxing because my dad, when I was a kid, I was a 9-year-old kid, and he opened up his gym. He opened up a gym in '95. Yeah, I was 9 years old. He opened up a gym, which he still has the gym. Opened up the gym, and my dad owned his own business. So before he had the gym, after he was done working, which is probably like 5:30, 6 o'clock, he'd come home. So at least I got my dad for 2 hours before I go to bed, 3 hours, whatever it was. Once he opened up the gym, might have seen him an hour. So I hated boxing because it took my dad away from me. I
hmm
hated it with a passion. My kids, same thing. Now my 6-year-old, he hates all contact sports. He needs to be in the NFL because he's 6'3", 350 pounds.
Oh, good lord!
You love what? You love watching football. He's in my conversation. He said, I love watching football. No, competing. He's just very lazy. But whatever. I mean, I'm never one to push my kids. My dad kind of pushed me to box. Um, but I don't push them to do anything. It's your life. Whatever you choose to do, uh, as long as it's positive, I love you. But it's your life, so you gotta live with whatever regrets come your way, whatever. Um, so him, I knew he would never box. I actually had hope he would play football, but that's out the door, I think. My 14-year-old is the athlete out of my oldest three kids. Um, he loves football. He'll mess around in the gym. He'll box. Like yesterday, I took him to the gym to do some workouts, not boxing workouts. But he never had any boxing matches. He was going to, but then football came up and got away. His passion is football. So for me, being that I was in a slimy business, boxing, I I don't tell him not to do it. I tell my kids do whatever you love, but
Yeah.
I hope what you love is different than boxing. But if you box, because all I know is boxing, I know nothing else. Well, now I know the job I do, but before that, I knew nothing else, nothing
Yeah.
except boxing. So I always tell my kids, I pray you guys don't box because you get really hurt in the ring if you don't take it serious.
Hmm.
Um, and not only that, like 90% of people I met through boxing, not can't talk, but I'm sure you heard the saying "punch drunk." And
Yeah. Yeah.
they slur their words, and I catch myself sometimes drooling when I talk. Oh, wait, my mouth, oh shit, and that's okay. I accept it because that was a choice I made in my life to box. Um, so he was kind of the one that I thought he might do it, but he might play with my 10-year-old. I don't know. I mean, he's 10 years old. He's still a kid. I'm letting him be a kid.
That's
Um,
right.
and
Yeah.
I have my 3-year-old, which is crazy because out of all my kids, my 3-year-old when he was one, he'd rather watch boxing than watch anything else. Um, Now he's like, he's 3 years old, so who knows? I won't know what the hell he's going to do until he's probably 14, and even then, he
Yeah.
probably won't even know what he's going to do then. My 16-year old is about to be in 12th grade. Still don't know what he wants to be when he gets older. It's his
Hey,
life.
some of us never figure it out. I'm 58,
Well,
still working through it.
I'm 37, still trying to figure out what I want to be when I get older. Um, but no, so I don't know. I mean, if any of them, maybe my 16-year-old, and then I mean, not my 16, my 13, 14-year-old, and then who knows? But my 14-year-old is the athlete in the family. Out of the older three, the
Yeah.
baby, I don't know. He's still a baby. He might grow up and be athletic. He might grow up and be fat like my other kids. Who knows?
Well, it sounds like you've tried real hard to kind of break that cycle, to make sure you're there for your kids.
Yeah. So it's a gift and a curse. I mean, if you think about it, um, so I hate it. I hate it as a kid. My dad was in the gym all the time, or he was work. My dad till today still kind of get mad at my dad. Like, Dad, spend some time with your family. You ain't gonna be around much longer. I mean, I hope you're around another 30 years, but let's be honest, I doubt it. I get on my dad all the time, like, Dad, you've made plenty of money. Like you used to be poor. You're far from poor now. You're better off than most people. Um, Retire. I'm not saying give up all your businesses. Like he has probably 10 different businesses. Don't give up all your businesses, but give up a lot of them. Number one, to take some stress away. And number two, you better spend time with your family. My dad loves to work. That's what keeps him
Yeah.
going. And I get it. I get it. But so being seeing that as a kid, I didn't have mom, and in all reality, I didn't have dad either because dad's working. But as a kid, I wanted my dad's attention. I craved it. I craved it because I just want dad. I don't have mom to hug me and love me. So, yo, dad, can I get a hug? I'm working, kid. I'll get back to you. So, you know, that growing up, I said I'd never do that to my kids. And it used to eat me up. I remember being in camp for 2, 3 months. The longest I was in camp was for 3 months is when I fought Amir Mansour. Um, and I loved being in shape. I knew what I was doing, but I used to break down being in camp. Like, man, these kids are just away from dad. Like, kids, they're only kids for so long. Then it's gone. Then they're men. And I used to say like, that was also another reason why I retired from boxing because I wanted to really spend time with my kids. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, addictions happen, and I put that before everything else. But now it's like I said about the gift and the curse was the fact that after I retired from boxing, I know I was gonna box no more, but I didn't want to work because I wanted to be with my kids.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be with them, so I didn't work for so long. I was like, Now I got too much time on my hands. What can I do? Uh, addictions, and then even now, like I said, I enjoy working because when I first started working, I got offered a second shift job. Yeah, whatever, I'll work. The
Yeah.
worst, never again, ever again. I'd rather be a prostitute than work second shift.
Hey, whatever pays the bills, right?
Penny, nickel, quarter, dime, 50 cent for overtime. But no, but no, but honestly, because my kids live with me, and I remember working second shift. So when I get home from work, they're in bed sleeping, getting ready for because they gotta go to school. When I get up for work to get up, get ready for work, they're already going to school. I didn't see them at all, only on weekends. So my depression got so bad. Thank God there's a first shift opening. So they don't do it. I mean, they do a seniority, but not really. Like it's kind of different. So there was openings for first shift, and I got bumped up to first shift, and I was like, oh, thank God. So I did that for 8 months, and it sucked. It sucked. So now I'm first shift. The only days I don't come right home after work are Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays because I go to the gym to help other kids. Because what's the point?
Mhm.
What's the point of having knowledge if you can't pass it down?
That's great. That's
I'm a
great.
firm believer in that. Now, do I love it? Nah, I'm gonna sit there and say I love training kids, but I'm gonna be honest because I don't. I've seen too much sliminess in boxing, not just
Yeah.
with promoters, but fighters too. I was very loyal to my trainer. My dad was my trainer. He started me. My dad didn't want to train me no more because he wanted to focus on promoting and because we fought so much. Me and my dad, if you ever seen Floyd Mayweather and his father,
Mhm.
me and my dad are probably that worse. We were worse than them. Um, oh, have you? I got to deal with my dad. Like, I dealt with just my trainer and my dad. So it was just, for years he trained me, and then eventually Nazem Richardson, who trained Shane Mosley, Bernard Hopkins, he stepped up to train me. He didn't want to because he's like, Marshall, I ain't gonna be able to pull triggers that you can. My dad's like, yeah, well, the triggers I'm pulling causes fights with us. so, so yeah, I just I'm Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm at the gym with the kids. I try to encourage my kids to come to the gym, but I never make them. Never.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's your life. Like my 6 year old, that's my he's my oldest, but he's my baby. And I used to tell him all the time, like Trav, he's Travis Jr. And I tell him like Trav, we can also call him Booby. So I either call him Trav or Booby. And but Trav, like, he's 350 pounds. He's a big kid. Like why? Like even like he had this growth spurt at 12 years old. He got skinny, but you can see his legs. He's gonna be big. He's just gonna
Yeah.
be. Now I'm not talking about big height wise. He's just gonna be a big, real thick bone,
Mhm.
and big, built like a freaking lineman, like just big. And I was just telling him, like, Trav, you're gonna be a grown man one day, and it's gonna happen quick. And you're gonna look back like, damn, I wish I could have played football. Damn, I wish I could have did this. Damn, I wish I would. Or now you're 350 pounds, you might get bigger, and it's gonna be like, man, I wish I listened to my dad and worked out. You know. So a part of me is like, I kind of want to force him sometimes, but I don't because I remember my dad forcing me to do something, and I had so much resentment towards him, and I don't want that with my kids. I want my kids to understand that I allowed you to make your own decisions.
Yeah.
Now I'm not gonna allow you to make bad decisions. Like let's say they're 16, they want to go do some dumb stuff. I'm not gonna allow that. But if it's if it's something you don't want to do, I'm not gonna force you. I just won't. And people are like, yeah, you gotta force them. I can't. Like, because I know what it did to me. I know it caused a lot of
Yeah.
depression. My dad forced me to box. My dad forced me to do this. My dad, I don't want to do that. No, it's your choice. It's your life. And understand. I tell my kids all the time, when you become a man and you look back and say, "Damn, I wish I could have did that." Damn, you got to live with that. Dad don't have to live with that. You got to.
Yeah.
So I'm big on that.
I mean, you can offer encouragement. I mean, I was never, I never forced ours to. You offer the encouragement. You can offer a path, and then they have to choose that path.
Absolutely. They say all the time, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink it.
Yeah, yeah. Hey man. So hey, do me a favor, will you? When I end this, don't jump off right away. I want to say something to you real quick afterwards. But hey, I
Absolutely.
want to thank Travis Kauffman for joining me at the pub for some great, candid, open, honest conversation. That was awesome, man.
Hey, next time I bring some brew or something. I'll have a drink
All
with
right.
you.
We'll both be drinking. Since you were drinking, I was just drinking some water tonight. But yeah, if you want to come on again, hey man, we'll do it again.
I would love to. Next time I'll let you talk.
That's right. Well, that's kind of what I do on this, to be honest with you. I want the guests to do the talking. I want to ask an open-ended question to give you room to talk, and you were awesome, man. You just took it and ran with it, and it's great that you were so open. So I want to thank everybody for watching us. Thank you, Travis Kauffman. I am Tom the Beer Whisperer, Beer Evangelist, for Beer Drinker, for Beer Wisdom, all around good guy. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.